everybody. This is episode.
Is Barf City. Welcome to episode 7. He's Eric. I'm Ozzy Osbourne.
We butchered that. Oh,
That was the best ever intro ever.
yeah, we completely butchered that.
Anybody listening to that is gonna be like, "What the heck? What?" They'll be like, "I know, it was amazing, wasn't it?"
Right? The sad attempt at saying things at the exact same time.
Yep.
Like we probably could do that if like we were recording in the same place, like typical podcasters do.
Yeah.
But
Yep. Same place. We're on the same planet. Goes around the sun.
You know what I mean, smart ass.
In the same universe.
I don't live in the same universe as you.
Did you know that was actually one of the name considerations I considered for the podcast was Wake Up Universe? Don't ask me why I thought of that.
Actually, no, that one wasn't the one of the list you mentioned to me.
That was one I kind of considered to myself. I even made a quick little logo or like a art picture for it, and to see what it would look like. Yeah, it was like a kind of just looked like galaxies all around, and then there was like a bed sitting there, like with the person like getting out of bed. It was like Wake Up Universe. So don't ask why that name. Not that the name Barf City makes much sense, but that name, I was like, don't ask me why that name. Mm-hmm.
But like, Wake Up Universe is a cool name.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's something for someone who's like conspiracy theory.
It does kind of sound like a conspiracy theorist podcast, huh? Like you're trying to get people to realize what's really going on here. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what they want you to think, but this is what's really going on. Wake up, universe.
We'll keep that in the back pocket if we ever decide to make a conspiracy theory channel.
Oh no, I would not want to do that.
Why not?
Unless I just did it for entertaining purposes. I wouldn't do it like being serious about it. To me, like 95% of conspiracy theories are just so stupid, in my opinion.
Dude, I couldn't hold it serious. Like, dude, some of them are just so freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Like I said, if we did it in a more comedic form, I might be down for that, but
yeah. Conspiracy theories to me are just hilarious. I can't really take most of them serious.
Has there ever a conspiracy theory that someone told you that you sat there and thought, well, maybe, I don't know?
I mean, there's a few of them. I can see where you'd go, how you could get there.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if I could take them very seriously in general. Like,
have you ever heard the conspiracy theory about mattress stores? Yeah, there's a theory about mattress stores that they're actually really just using those stores to laundry like drug money, and because the reason why that is because people stop and think like, when's the last time you went and bought a mattress? Like, how many people are just going to the stores to buy mattresses? Do they need an entire store just dedicated to mattresses? And so many of them too. And they're like, people are like, yeah, that's true. Why are there so many mattress stores? And it was like, so that's kind of what got the conspiracy theory going, that they're using them to just launder drug money. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I was like, they kind of do got some, makes sense. So.
Well, hell, there's conspiracies that like the Holocaust, like how they say, around like 6 million Jews were killed.
Yeah.
People are actually, there's theorists out there that said it's been enormously inflated of the death toll. But there's no way he killed that many Jews.
Well,
and I'm like, it doesn't matter how many he killed, he still killed.
Well, we know for sure that he killed a whole lot of them, yeah. And it's fair to say that it probably would have been a little trickier to count that many people back in those days. So they probably did do. I'm sure they did some estimizations here and there. That wouldn't surprise me. But
I mean, a lot of them probably came from family members that stated that were still alive, and they had family members that were murdered.
right.
And there's probably a list, because from what I know about the Nazis is they were, even though they were fascist assholes and egotistical motherfuckers and all that shit, and completely evil.
Right.
They kept very big lists of everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look at that big ass stack of paper. Oh, this is all the people you listed that you killed. I'm not going to go through this shit. That's just depressing. I'm just going to count the papers.
Mm-hmm.
About this many on each paper. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of my favorites that people like, big time one, is the fucking CIA. Actually, the ones that killed JFK.
Yeah, I've heard that one before. They also think the same thing about his brother RFK. So.
Mm-hmm. That and the moon landing was fake.
Yep, the moon landing. Yeah.
I know.
It gets crazier than that too. Like those are some of the mild ones.
Well, the mild ones are some of my favorites because, like, and like one that I know people really big. I'm like, I get it. A lot of people like Princess Diana, but like the whole, as soon as she died, people was like, "Oh no, she was secretly killed by the Queen."
Right. And it always does seem to be that way. Like when it's someone really famous that a lot of people seem to really love, because there's famous people, and then there's like infamous people, like they're really well known, but a lot of people can't stand them, But then with famous people that a lot of people love, it always seems like when they pass away, there always has to be some kind of conspiracy on, did this happen naturally, or did they kill him?
Yeah.
I mean,
what's the most far out there conspiracy theories that you've heard?
That I've heard? To me, the silliest and craziest one I've ever heard, besides maybe the flat Earth, because that one's pretty silly too. But there might be like this one makes flat Earthers look normal to me. But is that birds aren't real, that they're all robots controlled by the government to keep an eye on us. And that when they poop on your car, that poop they put on there is trackers to track you, to follow you and stuff.
Wow.
I was like, you got to be kidding me.
I'm gonna go to the Wikipedia and like pull, because they have literally a Wikipedia about the list of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And the categories on there is aviation, business and industry, death and disappearance, economics and society, espionage, ethnicity. I can't speak now. Ethnicity, race, and religion, fandom, celebrity, relationships, and shipping. Why is shipping in that category?
I don't know.
Government, politics, and conflict, medicine, outer space, science, technology. There's even sports conspiracy theories.
No, that doesn't surprise me.
Those ones should be entertaining. Boxing has featured in conspiracy theories such as the claims that the second Ali Liston fight and the first Bardley and Pacquiao fight were fixed. That's boring.
The way you said that.
Well, like the concept of fixing a fight. Well, yeah, that's kind of a thing that happens sometimes. It's not really a conspiracy theory because it does happen.
Yep.
You good?
Yeah, we were talking about conspiracy theories, and then something weird started happening in my back. I don't know. It just felt like somebody was watching me.
So apparently was an Irish bred racehorse that was stolen. And apparently the theorists just speculate the involvement of the mafia, the IRA, and Colonial Godfrey. There's conspiracy theories over just a horse's disappearance.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either.
But I can see how some conspiracy theories could potentially be true. Like again, going back to the Princess Diana, the Princess Diana thing. Yeah, I mean that could have been somebody assassinating her.
Yeah.
It happened. We've seen political figures get assassinated before.
Right.
But then you got like the birds. Oh my God.
I remember not too long, right after Michael Jackson passed away, there were all kinds of conspiracy theories for how his death occurred.
Yeah.
And they quickly came up with this documentary, just like a couple of weeks after he passed away. And all to me, trying to say that there was someone was out there to get him, that's not really the stretch for me, because I've heard that with a lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
But the reasonings in that documentary I thought were hysterical. Like they were looking for anything and everything to try to explain that he knew that his death was coming. Like on one of his albums, on his chin, it actually says the words "alive" on there. And so they thought that might be a reasoning, like that he actually faked his death. Maybe he's still alive somewhere out there. And I was just like, really? That's what you're going off of?
Well, it's also like, what's up? Oh, I had it in my head. Oh, Walt Disney's actually not dead, that he froze himself.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
That's an old one, though.
Yeah.
That underneath the main Disneyland, the actual Disney castle or whatever, there's a secret laboratory that he's frozen in a cryo sleep. Yeah.
I believe it.
And there's thousands, and they all are weirdly different about the Illuminati.
Yeah.
And I find it funny, if any celebrity does some kind of triangle thing,
yeah,
oh my God, the celebrities in the
Illuminati, yeah.
Real.
And that was another thing they did with Michael. Like he had a few, I think, on stage performances where he did the triangle thing, and they were like, "Oh, he's part of the Illuminati." I think in Daft Punk did it one time too, and they were like, "Oh, they're part of Illuminati." Yeah, and I was like, "What the heck?"
At some point, when does you think it's just come to the reason? Like, if you're talking about this stuff, if I was a celebrity, I'm going to do it periodically just to fuck with people.
That would be me too if I was a celebrity. I would totally just do that. And it's like, Christians will. I'm trash talking Christians again, but this one's a little more lighthearted. But Christians will sometimes, they freak out if a celebrity ever does any kind of devil-like things, like worship type seances on stage, and they always freak out like, "Oh, see, that proves that they're part of Satanism," or whatever they think, And I was just like, you realize they're doing that to be controversial, and you making a big deal about it is literally just giving them the free publicity that they want,
Yeah.
If you would just shut up about it, they would probably stop doing it.
Yeah. That's the kicker. A lot of people are like, they go out there and they talk and talk and talk and make these big, whole YouTube channels and podcasts to talk about this specific thing that these celebrities are doing. I'm like, or this group of people are doing. I'm like, if you just shut the fuck up and just ignore them, they'll go away.
Yep.
It's like,
because then you realize they're not going to get any publicity out of it anymore. Yeah.
So if you really want to stop a group, just ignore them.
Yep.
If they do something illegal, of course, just have the cops arrest them.
Right.
If they're not doing anything illegal and they're just doing something to annoy people, just ignore them. Society has a bad habit of taking everything personal.
Yeah, they do. I mean, people treat celebrities like they're their best friends or something. I'm like, you've never even met that person, most likely. I mean, some people have met some couple of celebrities, but I'm talking about the average person. Most likely hasn't even met that person.
I've met a ton of celebrities, voice actors, and
Yeah.
that. I had a good time talking to them, getting a signed autograph or a picture with them, blah, blah, blah.
Excuse me.
They're not my friends.
Right. But
Like,
some people act like that. They act like these people are like their best friends or something. I'm like, you don't even know that person.
like the only time a celebrity becomes your friend is if you get along with them really well and somehow they give you their number and you talk to them periodically.
Yeah.
And you show up on every event they show up and you always talk to them. Then you can say, well, I'm semi-friends with a celebrity.
Well, I've met a couple of country artists back when I was a country fan. Does that count?
Nope.
Nope, they're not celebrities.
Country artists are celebrities, even though people wants to say bad things about country music. It's funny though, like society, like when it comes to music, society talks about like back like 20, 30 years ago and stuff with rock music and crap. Oh, that's the devil's music or blah 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 music or whatever.
Yep.
Now it's all about with no one talks shit on rock music really, except for they just don't like it. But now there's a main group of people talking about how apparently country music leads to the most suicide rates.
Huh, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, apparently there's a study that states, and literally they did the testing only on white people and in the southern areas. What kind of songs do they listen to when they're depressed?
Yeah.
And they were the majority of them were country songs.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if you're a country fan, that makes sense.
primarily plays country.
Yeah.
People don't listen to depressed country. I used to listen to country all the time, but when I listen to country, it's more upbeat country.
Yeah. And it
Well,
makes sense that if you're already a big fan of country music, and then you become depressed, well, what are you going to listen to? You're going to listen to what you're a fan of, you know.
Yeah, you can find
maybe more sad songs of it, but yeah.
You're gonna find the sad country song that matches how you're feeling. It's just like, okay, if I'm depressed, I will listen to depressive alternative rock.
Yeah, that's what I listened to when I was a teenager and I was depressed. I'd usually listen to like rock music. Any emo type music, yeah.
If you're a person that grew up in the more in the kind of a ghetto-y area, your depressing song of choice will probably be, I don't know, "Lonely" by Akon.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody that's committed suicide to Akon's "Lonely." You know,
I can't take that song seriously with that high-pitched voice.
well, I like Akon's songs. So.
No, I like some of his songs. I'm just saying, and I even like that song, but I can't take it seriously as a sad song though with that chickmunk voice. I'm just like, yeah, I just can't. It just sounds silly to me.
Yeah. There's depressing songs in every genre.
Not in happy hardcore. In happy hardcore, everything is happy.
I'm sure in happy hardcore, there's probably one that sounds happy, but it's fucking depressing.
There are a lot of songs like that. I remember I watched a YouTube video one time when they talked about the real meaning of songs that sound happy, but they're really not. And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, these songs are pretty depressing, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like, I mean, people know what it's about, but the song Blue.
Yeah.
The whole beat, it's upbeating. The music is beat, but he's literally talking about he's depressed.
Yep. Talking about how depressing his life is, and no matter what he does, it just doesn't change. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, you can't trust happy songs sometimes.
Nope. And everybody's just dancing out to it, like, "Woo, this guy's depressed." Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on Spotify, you literally have sections of nothing but sad. You type in sad song, and there's just list after list of sad different playlists. And one of those playlists is sad TikTok song.
Excuse me.
But,
Yeah, I can see that.
I
mean, any song on TikTok is a sad song. No, I'm kidding.
damn.
We're almost out of time.
Like you know, when I'm kind of curious though, because I mentioned brought up the TikTok thing. I'm like, what are TikTok songs? Because like when I see a TikTok, a few that I do that have music, they're a song that was already that's established song. Like they use the background music for any popular or sub-popular song.
All right, so I'll explain this to the best of my ability, but a TikTok song is essentially, of course, like you said, it's an already established, like, popular song most of the time. But it gets, particularly with like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they know it more well on TikTok, from TikTok. Like they're like, "Oh, I know that song, it's from TikTok," and they might say something like that, even though it didn't actually literally start on TikTok. It's not like someone wrote the song and put it on TikTok. But
Yeah.
it's just more well known, particularly with those people through TikTok. That generation or those generations.
Oh, I love this song. I hear it on TikTok all the time.
Right, pretty much. And then it becomes known, after a while, it becomes known as a TikTok song. So because that's what people affiliate with it more. So
That's just, it annoys the shit out of me.
I mean, I don't even know what songs are popular on TikTok and which ones aren't, because I do not get on TikTok. So
I literally only get on TikTok because my wife and a few friends send me TikTok stuff.
Always blaming your wife.
Well, they're the one. Her, my friend Michael, my cousin Jonathan, my cousin Rarick. They're constantly sending me TikTok stuff.
Yeah.
Tiring clicking going to the internet on my phone. So I said, forget it. I'll just download TikTok myself.
Yeah.
You just go straight to the app, and it's easier to back out of. I don't have to close the tab. And
hey, I mean, whatever excuse you need to get on TikTok. I mean,
I actively don't get onto. Literally, I come home. It's funny because I don't pay attention to my notifications when I'm at work. Because I mean, I got a video or a mute or a song or something playing in the background while I'm doing my work.
right.
And my wife will be sending me TikToks through the TikTok message part. You, if your friends on TikTok message each other or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll come home and she's like, did you see the TikToks I sent you today? No. Yeah, I sent you a bunch of them. There's a few you would really like. I'll check them out. It's like, just download them, send them to me on Messenger. It'd be way easier. So I'll notice my message will pop up because it's a little bubble icon.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to, I can just pause my video, hit the bubble, watch it, and then close the bubble and hit play on my video. I don't have to pause the video, exit out of whatever it's Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, whatever I'm on, go to the TikTok app, pull up the messages and go through every little TikTok you sent me that day, back out, and then watch for you send me more later. This work for me.
I mean, people could use TikTok. I don't really care. I'm just being silly. It's not really my cup of tea. It's not like the people on Reddit. I mean, people on Reddit crap all over TikTok. I mean, they constantly are bashing. And I was like, I was like, well, I don't really care. I mean, people can use whatever they want. So it's not my cup of tea, but if people like it, hey, cool. So,
I mean, TikTok's cool for just little, like, if you want to just watch short clip videos.
Yeah. I mean, I watch Instagram Reels, which are the same concept. So, and a lot of those are just re-uploaded TikToks. So, So it's kind of like I'm watching TikTok indirectly, but I refuse to get on TikTok. But
Yeah.
people on Reddit though, they crap over pretty much all social media. I've seen people on Reddit like talk trash about Reddit, and yet they're on it. And so I was like, okay,
Reddit is filled with horny nerds and haters.
yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot of haters on Reddit. I mean, they have a long list of reasons why they hate this and hate that and hate this, and I'm like, geez, people, you're so negative.
Yeah, Reddit. I don't really like using Reddit.
I like Reddit because I like forums, and that's essentially all Reddit is. It's just one really giant forum with tons of subreddits.
Well, the thing is, it's like I said, it's literally full of thirsty people and haters.
Yeah, but I will admit there's a lot of like crappy people on there. Yeah, or at least they present themselves that way. So,
Yeah. Well, heck, you can literally go to Reddit to find a date.
Yeah.
Or a hookup for a night.
That's really nothing new to forums. I mean, my very first forum I ever got on when I was like, I think 15 years old or something like that, was the PlayStation Underground forums, and where you just essentially just talk about PlayStation games, and most like over half the people on there were all just like very negative, very like, oh, I'm better than you kind of mentality people. And it's like on Reddit, really no difference over there. It's just like that with any forum I've ever been on, really. So
yeah, I am knocking all my shit over.
you need to stop doing that.
Trying to move something around and I fucking knock my fucking heck.
Okay.
My fucking lampshade is
interesting choice of words, but okay.
Well, my lampshade is partially broken.
Yeah.
And I went to move something from the table in front of me to the table next to me to get out of my way.
I'm full. I don't even know why I'm eating these.
Bump the lampshade.
Yeah.
Eating what?
What?
What are you eating?
McDonald's French fries.
Oh. Well, that's not bad. But I hit the lampshade and it knocked it half off, so I had to sit here and fight with it.
I haven't owned a lamp since... I don't think I've ever owned a lamp.
I don't like the big overhead lights.
The lamps just don't put out enough light for me. They illuminate too much of like one corner and stuff.
Well, that's the whole point for us, is we only need one.
And then when you go to bed at night, you got to walk around the house and do the whole turn off thing. So,
well, we only use lamps in our living room.
I know, and you got to turn them all off.
Well, no, there's one on my wife's side of the couch and one on my side of the couch. I literally just reach over, turn it off, and move on.
Nope. Can't do it.
And I thought I was lazy.
Yeah, you got to realize I grew up in a house with my mom. Yeah, believe it or not, I grew up in a house with my mom. And I know that's hard to believe, but she is obsessed, or at least used to be. I don't know if she still is, but she used to be really obsessed with lamps. She'd have them all over the freaking house. And like by the end of the day, they'd all slowly get turned on because you can't friggin' see anything unless you have every one of them on. And by the end of the night, I'd have to walk around the whole friggin' house just like click, 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 click. And I was like, Jesus, so annoying.
Yeah, no, we have 2 lamps. And if we go into any other room in the house, we turn on the big lights.
Yeah. Well, some of the houses we lived in didn't actually have skylights because they were built like a really long time ago and they never really got remodeled all that much. So a couple of those rooms, all we had was lamps. So if you didn't have a lamp on, it was just dark. So.
Yeah. Like, we have our overhead light with it has 3 places for 3 bulbs. We only have 1 bulb in it.
Yeah.
And like we're tabletopping or got something we need extra light on, we'll have the lamps and that on. But most of the time I'm playing a video game or watching TV. You don't need a bunch of bright lights.
Yeah. But if I'm playing video games, I prefer the room to be dark. That's just my preference. But
I have to have a little bit of light or my eyes start to hurt anymore.
oh, really?
Yeah. It's spent too many nights in front of a freaking screen in the dark.
Yeah.
But you gotta think, I was a World of Warcraft life.
Yeah. If I ever play a game that has dungeons in it, that's really where I need a lot less light in the room, because some of those games, they make the dungeons so dark. I'm like, if you don't have all the lights off, I can't friggin' see anything on the screen.
Yeah, and if you raise up your gamma, it becomes gray.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like, I get it, it's for ambiance and
Yeah.
it's cool. But like at the same time, I'm like, I don't like it because I'm trying to see shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm playing a
As soon-
horror game.
As soon as you come back out in the main world, you're like, oh, geez, it's so friggin' bright.
My favorite is always in dungeons or something. Anything that has a loading screen.
Yeah.
You spend hours upon hours in this dark, like you can barely see place. And then you go to exit and the loading screen is just bright right there. And you've been right in front of your TV, your eyes wide open. Like, it's funny on the Dinosaur Survival game, Path of Titans, that I play, because it has a day-night cycle.
Yeah.
Which is typically fine. As the sun rises, it starts to slowly get brighter.
Right.
But there are some dedicated servers where the admins, and they've gotten to the point now, they will put a announcement across the screen that says flashbang, because they'll instantly turn to day from night.
Yeah.
And your whole screen just lights the fuck up. So like as soon as they do that, you have to like aim your camera all the way down so you don't get blasted by sunlight.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah.
All I want for Christmas is you. That was random.
Very random. Man, Christmas is over. She's already went back to hibernation.
Mariah Carey, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that one meme online where they were like, it had a bunch of pagans celebrating the original like Christmas, and then cool. Jesus storms in and he's like, all right, everybody out, I'm taking over. And then, and then he takes over, and then Santa Claus comes in and he's like, all right, everybody out, I'm taking over. And then they had Mariah Carey at the end going, all right, everybody out, I'm taking over. I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, that is very accurate.
Everybody just claiming Christmas for their holiday.
That's theirs.
It's my holiday now. Get out.
Yeah.
I know a holiday better than Christmas, though.
Oh.
Yep. New Year's Eve. Best holiday ever.
You just love the new year.
I do. I love it so much.
Oh, when I was making the schedule for this week, putting the dates on there.
Yeah.
I'm going to remind myself because I got to, 12/31/23. Okay, wait. Okay. Monday is 1, 2, 4. Like I had to outwardly say that I remind myself to write the 4, not a 3.
That's weird.
Yeah. How's that weird? Most people mess that up.
Oh, you mean like for the year? Okay.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I got what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah, I had to make sure I wrote 24, not 23.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be something I struggle with all week, probably.
I'm gonna have to, when I
I'll
get
be
into
sitting
work,
there going,
Yeah, when I get into work in the morning, I'm gonna have to double check, make sure the stamp was changed to 24.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hopefully they realize what they're doing tonight at midnight and change it.
Who is usually there at midnight?
It's Joe.
No, he don't know what he's doing, especially with that stamp.
I've gotten bad the past few weeks about not paying attention when I stamp stuff to make sure they actually switch the date over.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the only one that has ever changes the stamp most of the time. Because see, when I used to work third shift, well, I guess I didn't work third shift every day of the week. So, but the days I worked it anyway. No, the person I relieved never changed it. I always changed it when I came in.
The person that I relieved that ever changed it was your sister.
Yeah.
Almost everyone else, I had to grab it and double check.
Yeah.
And then I went into this.
I always changed it when I came in, and now that I'm working second shift and the new day starts when the person comes in to relieve me, I still change it. So yeah,
which is why I got complacent and didn't really think about it. And all of a sudden, I guess you forgot to change it, and then Jay forgot to change it, and then I didn't change it.
I definitely got to remember to change it when Jay relieves me because he never changes it. So he'll just go throughout the day and just stamp it, and not even think anything about it.
Yeah. And then I will go probably through typically I'll stamp like 2 or 3, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, wait. Huh? By that time, I've finally taken a couple drinks of my Monster, and I'm like starting finally waking up.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I've been stamping on with the wrong date.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah, it's gonna be real bad for the next couple of days. Gonna have to watch the paperwork, see how many 3s are gonna get marked out.
Oh yeah. Scratched out, marked out, whited out, blanked out.
I'm tempted to go ahead and buy some whiteout for our paperwork.
Yeah.
I'm getting tired of having to somebody I'll write down a trailer number or something, and somebody's like, all of a sudden they change it on you. So you have to just put a line through it and then write. Because we already don't have enough space as it is just for the one bit of writing we have to do.
Yeah.
You screw up.
I know, because then if you ever mess up, you're literally writing in the box next to it. You're like,
There's never enough room.
There was one day where I guess I just wasn't thinking, or I was out of it, or whatever. Too much cocaine the night before or something. But if you looked on there, it was like I wrote down the trailer number and then I marked it out and wrote down a different trailer number. And then I marked that out and then wrote the original trailer number down because I guess I realized, wait a second, that was right all along. So it was like scratch, and then original number. Like, what the heck happened here? Yeah.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. It was like, oh God, my paperwork's a disaster.
Everyone that works for us is a disaster.
I know me and Joe were trash talking the one that we do not speak of, bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And and then Morgan was like, that's her name, right, Morgan? Yeah. She was like, well, what's wrong with him? And me and Joe didn't even know where to start. We were like, what's not wrong with him?
Soon as Kenneth came in yesterday, and we started talking about he who should never come back. That's what I was going to call him. He who should never come back.
Yeah.
He shouldn't. He should not come back. That he could not do that.
He shouldn't have been there the first time.
Well, the first time was whatever because we didn't know him.
Yeah. Yeah, but
he definitely should have came
like, get out of here.
But and we were telling her, so yeah, he is the only person I have ever seen actually piss Kenneth off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kenneth can't stand him.
Well, apparently, yeah. So she's like, was he really that bad? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty bad. I'm just glad I didn't have to deal with him at all this time. So,
Yeah, lucky you.
yep. I know Ken hated it when I kept saying that. I was like, well, I don't have to deal with him. He was like, yeah, I know. He was like, won't you come in and work on a week? I was like, no, I'm okay.
Nah, I'm a good.
I'm good.
Ugh.
So my mind just went completely blank because I was about to ask you a question. Sorry about that. Yeah. Anyway, did you ever watch the ball drop on TV during the New Year's? I think they still do it today. I don't know, but
I've watched like
New Year's
one
Eve.
or two that I've
Mhm.
been to these parties.
Yeah, I don't think I've literally ever watched that live on TV before. So,
Yeah, well, half the time I go to a New Year's Eve party, I'm typically drunk and tongue fencing a woman.
yeah. Why you watch the ball drop?
I don't even pay attention to the ball drop. Like I can vaguely hear everyone like pounding along with it, and me
Yeah.
and whoever I hook up with that night, or if I'm dating someone prior to that, are typically making out the entire countdown or before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've seen like the after effect of the ball dropping like on YouTube and stuff. Like I've watched it so I get the concept of how it works and stuff. But like I've never actually watched it live before. So like during New Year's Eve. So I was like, this is like this big deal thing, and or at least to some people I guess it is. And I've never even watched. So but a little history about me throughout New Year's Eve though. Like when from pretty much the time I was born all the way until I was like, I'd say roughly around 11 or 12, maybe like 11. We always went to church for New Year's Eve, and we would do like a prayer night thing where we would pray into the New Year's. And never was a big fan of New Year's Eve. In fact, I didn't even know what the heck New Year's even was until I was like probably 8 or 9, and because just didn't understand what we were doing. And finally, when I got old enough, I was like, oh, okay, it's like a New Year's coming. Okay, I gotcha. And so when the new year came, we would usually stay like till like roughly about 1 o'clock in the morning. Then we usually all go home. Well, finally, when that pastor resigned and we got a new pastor and everything, so we didn't do that anymore. And so we started staying at home for New Year's Eve. And usually, as a kid or a preteen, we would always watch movies. We would go to the store, the renting store, and rent a bunch of movies to watch.
Yeah,
And we would just have like a little mini movie marathon and just like eat snacks and just hang out and have fun. And then when the New Year came, then we'd hang out for a couple, maybe another hour or so, and then we'd all go to our rooms and go to sleep. And I always really liked that. I thought that was a lot of fun. So that was kind of how my enjoyment of New Year's Eve started. But then I liked it even more as I got older, because then I started to realize that feeling that it kind of gives you, to where I'm like, ooh, I like that. I like that feeling of starting a new year. I was like, and then over time, I slowly started to realize, I'm like, yeah, I think this is like my favorite holiday. I was like, I'll just love this, just something about this concept. I just love it so much. So,
I don't I don't know where I started really disliking holidays in general,
yeah,
and like when I was a kid, I don't think I really cared like to pay attention to New Year's
yeah,
because like I still didn't have to go to school the next day, so
right,
because it's still winter break, so
right,
it's typically if my mom and them were having a New Year's Eve party, I would eat or whatever, and then go hang out with my cousins, or if I'm at a friend's house or whatever.
yeah,
I just treat it as any other time. But when became an adult, I joined the whole trend of going to parties and drinking and doing the whole kissing at midnight.
Right. That's what most people do. Yeah, they usually do the party and the drinking into the new year. So most people that celebrate it anyway. That's what I prefer. I'm not talking about just people in general. But most people that celebrate New Year's Eve, yeah, that's usually how they do it. They usually have a party and drink. So
I remember. So the most interesting New Year's Eve for me was there's this girl I really had a thing for, right?
yeah,
She had a thing for me, and she admitted she wanted to date me.
yeah,
But it was already like middle December. She's like, you know what? I'm not going to date you though. I'm like, why is that? She's like, I'm not going to date you till midnight on New Year's.
Oh wow.
Huh? So for me,
you were like her New Year's goal or something.
I don't know. She's basically she's like she's saying that she just wanted to start a new relationship on the new year.
Yeah,
because she had a bad year that year.
Yeah, she wanted
So
a fresh start.
Yeah.
Mm.
She's like, if I want to start a new relationship, it's going to be on the new year. Well, that was still a shitty year.
Yeah. That's the way my friend John was in high school. He would every single New Year's, like, because I would always invite him to like some New Year's Eve gathering I would be having at my house, and every time he would always like say the words like, "I just feel like next year is going to be just so much better than it was this year." And I was like, "Well, we'll see." And he'd say that every year, and literally it would be like the very first day, like back at school, like I guess it would have been like roughly a week later or whatever. And he would be like, "Oh, this year already sucks." And it was like, "Well, that didn't take you long." And he would do that every single time. He like, "This year sucks." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. You say that every year, John."
Yeah. I mean, it's on average does.
Yep.
And the whole concept of New Year, like the fresh start, like it's not really it's not a fresh start. Like, I mean, if you really want a fresh start, every day is a chance for a fresh start.
It doesn't feel as exciting though, because that changes too often. Year, that only changes,
Once every year.
Yeah, and every 52 weeks, so it feels like more rare. So, but yeah, a lot of people have been talking about how crappy 2023 has been, but I'm like, I don't know. To me, I've enjoyed this year for the most part. I mean, obviously, it hasn't been perfect, but as a whole, I've liked it pretty well. It's been pretty good.
The worst part of 2023 for me has been stuff at work.
Yeah. There's always like personal things that happen in a year that I hated, and then of course there's the outer things that kind of affect everybody. So
I didn't have no problem in 2023.
Yeah, the only thing outer wise that like affect everybody that kind of sucked about 2023 is the prices just keep skyrocketing. But other than that, I think it's been pretty good. Personally, I've had a couple of crappy things, like the whole crap that went down this year at work about us kind of getting screwed over on schedules and stuff like that. Other than that, though, I haven't minded too many things. So
that, and we lost our boss, and then we had a crappy boss try to come in. And...
Okay, you're making it sound worse and worse, Eric.
Well, thing is, the second half of the year was
here like, oh, it's been pretty good, and you were like, yeah, and then this and this, and I'm like, all right.
When it came to work specifically, it was crappy.
Yeah.
On for like 4 months, because there was just so much crap going on.
Yeah.
I'll have, a guy that we knew for a long time, that was our boss for so long, pass away. And then our shit getting just fucked left and right on our schedules. But it eventually came around.
Yeah. Well, I still don't like my schedule, but I make do with what it is. So
You're not happy with Amy's schedule.
that's because all the schedules that we have now are just like, that's why I said, like, schedule wise, I feel like I just kind of got backed into a corner and I just have to accept what I got.
Well, that is actually, we have still the same schedules as we've always had. It's the only different because, like, if you look at the old schedule, it was just split between 2 guard checks,
Yeah.
and like one guard check with like had 2 Monday to Friday shifts.
But that's what made the schedule better back then, though, was when we had more
That guard
schedules.
check had 2 Monday to Friday shifts.
Yeah.
Then everyone else was just trickled around everywhere else.
Yeah.
And we still have that 2 Monday through Friday shifts, and everyone else just sprinkled out everywhere else.
Yeah. And some of it is me, because now that I've gotten older, there's just some shifts I just don't want to do anymore. Like when I was like a few years ago, like I did the weekends and then worked like the night on the weekdays and stuff like that. And like I was completely happy with that. I had no problem with it, but I don't want to do that again. So like, and
you don't want my shift.
And I don't want my shift because, again, it's kind of the same problem. Like, I want to sleep at night and get up in the morning because that's the way my brain works now that I'm older. But when I was younger, I would have loved this shift. So I would have had no problem with it. I've been like, yeah, this shift's awesome. And it will get a little better once I get my car, but because I'll at least have a bit more time in the day. But I just, like I said, it's just my shift, sleep schedule and everything. It just
It's not
sucks.
the schedule, it's you.
Yeah, everything about it just sucks. So, and I like that 8 to 4 that you work. I love the schedule, love it, because it's like perfect hours. Because it's like I'm not getting up too super duper early, because I wouldn't want to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I don't want to be up that early. But but 8, like I only have to get up depending on how long it takes you to get ready and stuff. And I'm more one of those people that tend to get ready more at night than I do in the morning. So in the morning, all I do is got to get dressed and kind of fix my hair and stuff, and then I'm pretty much ready to go. And so I don't have to get up that early, and so it's like perfect schedule. The only thing I don't like about your schedule is how chaotic it is and how much I let it stress me out, because people complain and then I let it get to me, and I don't handle it very well. So. And that's why, so I really don't want your schedule either. Not that I can have it, because I know the supervisor's got to have that schedule. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a me issue for the most part. But there are some things that like, I feel like them throwing us out of the front gate, and then, we had the schedule set up really well, and then they came along and screwed all that up. And then, and I just felt like I kind of got screwed over. So, which I'm sure you feel that way too. So,
well, like if they didn't throw us out of the front gate, you know what? I'm not going to rant on the podcast again about our job. We do that way too often.
The audience be like, geez, all these people do is complain. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, really, we do.
Well, I'm sorry. I have nothing else to talk about but complaining. No, I'm kidding. I try to be positive, but like there are sometimes I just, we start talking about something and then I just can't help but just vent about it.
I mean, you can call me and vent, or you can vent tomorrow when we switch shifts.
Well, I try not to dump everything on you all the time, because I find people like that personally be annoying when they constantly vent, especially about the same stuff. If they constantly call me up, like my mom's bad about doing that, calling me up and complaining about the exact same stuff. And I'm like, yes, this is the same stuff you've complained to me like 3 days ago.
Well, this is the first episode your mom ever watches of this podcast.
Sorry, Mom. No, she knows. I've told her. So I've told her that she complains about the same things. And she's like, well, I'm sorry. All right. I have switched from Coke to water, so
I just refill my Dr. Pepper.
So since it's a New Year's Eve party thing, majig, uh, my son says I'm very wordy with the way I text. Like when I'm
Yeah.
texting people, I tend to like add unnecessary words in there. I'm like, yeah, I do that with everything. Like you should see me like attempt to write a book. Like everything is like extremely a lot of extra adjectives are added in there.
Yeah, that's right. When I was writing my book,
Yeah.
I lost it.
Yeah.
I literally would write like 5, 6, 7 paragraphs or more. As I get on a roll and write down what I do. And when I go take a break, rethinking where I'm going next, I'd hand the computer to my wife and be like, "Babe, check this for me. Edit it, please." Like it's funny. Like,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll be on the phone with someone, and they'll ask me a question for advice, and I'll sit there and be talking. I'm like, and I'll just completely lose every bit of my word. And I'll look at my wife like, "Babe," and I'll try to explain. I'll like to say this like it's not English. There's I don't know what language I'm start speaking. It's not English. It's not a known language. And I'm like, "Babe, translate." And she can do it after 10 years. She just translates what I'm trying to say.
It's like parents who have to translate for their kids because no one else can understand them, but they're sitting there saying, like, what did he just say? Oh, he said this. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, I'm glad you translated because I didn't have a freaking clue.
Yeah. My wife's my translator.
Yep. I used to have a friend that he had a little brother that had a really bad like a lisp, and he also stuttered a little bit. And between those two, like half the time I'm like, I could not understand what he was saying. And so I would always just ask my friend, I'm like, what did he say? And you have to translate for him. So, I mean, I felt bad. I didn't want to be like, mean about it, but like I really just couldn't understand what he was saying. So
Look at your friend. Translate, please.
yeah, but since they were brothers, they had been around each other enough where he, I guess, just got used to like, his language there. So, so do you have any New Year's 2024 goals?
Nope.
No.
My goals
you're
are
supposed to have a list every year. I need a long, organized list from you. And I want it due tomorrow. And I'm grading it too.
You're not getting a list from me. Like, you were like, oh, I make a yearly plan. No, I don't do it by the year. My plans and my goals have an end time.
Every year, I always sort of have two lists. I have the list I'm willing to share with other people when they ask me. And then I have my personal list that I don't want anybody else to know but me. So when I say list, I don't literally write them down. I just kind of make them in my head. So,
well, it's for me. It's all my goals cannot be put in a year.
Yeah. Well, I don't put all my goals in my year. I sometimes I'll even break them up. I'll have these lifelong goals or something. And sometimes when the New Year's comes, I'm like, I do want to do this, but it's not time for that yet. So that won't be a 2024 goal. That'll be like something that comes in the later years, So, and that's fine, but I'll make a more realistic goal that I can meet like by the end of next year. So, and sometimes I meet them and sometimes I don't. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I just have life goals. Yeah. And I just do it as I do it. And if whatever gets done in that year, great. If I got a lot of it done in that year, great. If not, oh well. I still got time.
Yeah.
Well, technically, you never know how much time you get, but
well, that's true. But assuming that you're going to make it all the way through next year, then yeah, you got that much time. So,
no, I'm going to die next year.
Oh, is that your goal?
Yep.
Your goal for 2024 is to kill over.
Yeah, by natural causes.
Well, if you kill over, I'm quitting because. No, probably my most easiest realistic goals for next year because I do want to finish my first game that I was working on, Crate, and I'm almost done with it. So, like I said, it's a pretty realistic goal. So, so that one is I definitely get that done, at all costs by next year. That's one of my main goals.
Well, if I had to put in goals, like get an extra, start buying a house instead of renting.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to do that start that next year at some point. Hopefully, put a lot of time and effort into the podcast.
Yeah.
And well, just keep our job afloat.
Yeah. I also want to get a car before next summer hits because I don't want to repeat what I did last summer. That was horrible. And so before the summer hits, at anything it takes, I will get a car one way or the other. I don't care if I gotta build one myself out of wood and hammers and nails. I will have a car before.
Just have a little window unit.
Just hook it on the back of someone else's car and then just let them wagon me there. Yeah.
No, just put blinkers on it and do it with a pedal and just put a window unit in it in the back. Keep the whole car cooled and you just pedaling to work.
Yeah, one way or another, I will get one. So before the summer hits, that's the key. So.
Yeah, the vehicle spot for me would be more getting my secondary vehicle fixed so we don't have to just use one car.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I remember when I was still married, like anytime we only had one car, it was a nightmare having to, especially when you're dealing with her college classes and both of us having a job, and then we had, throw kids in there. Yeah, is chaos. So much easier when you have your own cars. So.
Yeah. My buddy Jay was talking about so we have this game plan that if he becomes single and if anything happens, like me and my wife split up or whatever, the plan for me was to both be like, nah, we're done dating. We're gonna find a place. Me and him's gonna
date each other.
We're gonna do emotional gaze.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew that.
I was like, yeah, but here's the kicker though. If my wife leaves me, both the cars belong to her. So if that ever happens, we got to try and make sure it doesn't happen until after tax season so I can buy a car.
You have to start over like I did. When my wife left me, I literally had to start all over.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's pretty standard for the guy. The guy always gets screwed over in a divorce. So.
Not always.
Unless they have a lot of money to afford a really, really good lawyer.
Or you're just like, oh, I got a ton of money. Here's half to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Thing is, I'm not worried about the money aspect. Like, if we split up, she would probably allow me to use both.
I didn't really care about the money either. We didn't really have any money. But
yeah. She would probably allow me to use. Depends on how badly I pissed her off for the reason we split up.
Yeah.
I might not be alive. But no.
What if you cheated on her with Jay? How mad?
She killed both of us. Her and Jay's girlfriend would kill both. It'd be a double. They literally made the comment one time. I was talking to Jay and his girlfriend. I was like, yeah, and we were just talking, and she was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, one of these days, I'm just waiting for the day she kills me.
Yeah.
Loki looked at him and he goes, okay, if you figure out how to kill his big ass, let me know so I can utilize it on Jay. Like, Jay, if I die, don't investigate my death. Just run, bro. Run. You're next. Just run. Like, I'll come back as a ghost to watch your back. Just run. Don't even bother investigating my death. Just let it be. I'm gonna hit the spectate button and watch his back.
Nice.
That's the dangerous part about when two best friends have significant others, and their significant others become best friends or decent friends, anyways.
Yeah.
They both have equal things to bitch about. I'm just over here getting looks from my wife.
What kind of looks?
The looks of really now. That's why I make those jokes. Be like, man, you got me on the couch now. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm always on the couch. I got a pillow specifically for the couch. I got a blanket for the couch. I'm ready, motherfuckers. That's what you gotta do when you get a marriage. Don't wait for it to get kicked out of the doghouse. Just already have it planned and set up. For when you do, it's always comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. I had no plan.
You gotta be like Batman, man. You gotta have contingency plans.
Oh man.
Yeah, lucky for me though, like at least even the car's comfortable to sleep in. I just gotta make sure I can grab the key before she kicks me out of the house.
Just drive off with the car. Well, I'm taking the car.
Let the car go park up there at work. Don't mind me, just do your job. I'm just gonna go sleep. You ever see me pull up there at like 7, 8 o'clock at night or something? Well, Eric just got in trouble.
Oh man. Jeez, I just started yawning all of a sudden. Your story's putting me to sleep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So boring. Jeez.
Well, it's just because like I have boring stories when I talk to boring people.
How dare you?
I have noticed though on the podcast, I become very like overly animated.
Have you?
Yeah.
I feel like you're just like that in your everyday life.
No, on average, I'm not that animated.
You're probably one of the most animated people I've ever met.
Because I'm trying to be stupid and have fun.
The way you said that. Because I'm trying to be stupid and have fun. Gosh, was that illegal or something?
Well, it's like by the time I get someone to actually talk to and have a decent conversation with,
Yeah.
I go hours without a conversation and just sitting there.
Aw,
Oh, me.
poor baby.
Mm-hmm. This second half has not been coherent on this episode.
It's the best part.
The non-coherentness.
Yep. People like that sometimes. It's kind of like white noise. They can just lay down and go to sleep and listen to it.
Right.
And there's not a whole lot of jibber jabber.
Nothing like serious enough you have to pay attention to.
Right. They're just kind of babbling. Yeah.
Yeah. We really treat this each episode like it's just a phone call.
Yeah, we kind of do. I feel like the second half of our podcast always kind of winds up that way. Well, sometimes it's the other way around, I've noticed. Sometimes it starts off where we're a little bit on the quiet side. And then by the second half, we finally have stuff to talk about. And then we try to wrap it up. We're like, well, I guess we'll wrap it up, And then the next podcast starts and, sometimes it's swapped the other way. We have a lot to talk about. And then the second half, we're just like, yeah, anyway, yeah.
And it almost alternates like that because like it seems like we had so much we finally kicked into gear to talk about in each episode at the ass end. Like, well, we had to wrap it up so quick.
Sorry. Yep.
Still have it, sitting there for the beginning of the next episode.
Yeah. That should be goal of 2024. Every episode is going to be amazing, explosive, and entertaining every inch and every second of the podcast.
It's got me hard with a boring ass podcast partner like you.
How dare you?
I dare. I do dare to say it.
Well, you already said it.
So
What is that a picture of on your icon, by the way? Is that like supposed to be an eagle or something?
he's one of Odin's ravens.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is.
Odin has 2 ravens that sit on one on each shoulder.
Well, there's only one.
Like I said, it's supposed to be one of Odin's ravens.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
Jeez, put your listening ears on, dude.
right. So, have you seen anything about the new Disney Plus show? Percy Jackson.
I haven't even heard of it.
Ha ha ha.
I really haven't.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Where you
made.
can't tell when I'm being serious and when I'm being sarcastic.
Uh,
Hmm.
they decided to make a TV show out of it. Disney did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm curious on watching it, but I don't know.
I don't have Disney Plus, so
For you.
I don't really care. I don't have any streaming services right now. Actually, I got rid of all of them because I don't. The last 2 months, I just haven't been watching enough of them to make it really be worth the money right now. But so because I've been too busy working on my game so much, so I just never really watch them. And but eventually I'll get them back when I'm ready to watch them again. Especially when like Stranger Things season 5 comes out, I'll get Netflix back.
I'm actually behind on Stranger Things. By
Which season are you on? Which season are you on?
I'm behind by 2 seasons. I only watched season 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because, to me, it got boring.
I will agree with you. Season 2 is not nearly as good as season 1. And then season 3 is a little better than season 2, but in my opinion, not by much. Things get really, really, in my opinion anyway, get really, really good again when it hits season 4. To me, season 4 is better than season 1. So, it's my favorite season so far. I thought it was really, really good. So, and I'm hoping season 5 will be at least as good as season 4. So, or at least, if it's at least as close as good, I'll be satisfied. So, because season 2 and 3, like I said, I kind of felt like the show was going downhill. I was just like, So, I'm like, it's good and all, but I'm just not getting that wow factor that I got from season 1.
Well, I do that with shows. I have to, when they start getting into their seasons where it's almost feels like they're not sure where they're going to go yet. And you can tell it, and things slow down quite a bit.
Yeah.
I have to stop watching it because, like the show Vampire Diaries, I got to, I can't remember what seasons it is. It's in the middle of the series, but it gets so, to watch it. You have to, push yourself just to watch every episode.
Yeah. I've had a few shows like that where you feel like you got to make yourself watch it. Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't watch it. I'm done with it. It's now become stupid. I mean, it was already kind of stupid to me anyways.
Yeah.
But at least it was stupid, but still entertaining.
Yeah.
Now it's just stupid. So I stopped watching it, and then they finished the series. And I came and decided, you know what? I'm bored. I have nothing else to watch. The series is over. I'll get in it, and I'll see if I can ram myself through those seasons. And typically when I come back to it, I can get myself through those seasons because now I'm prepared for it.
Yeah.
Like, I know this season's boring. There's a good chance the next season after that's going to be boring, and next season after that, or whatever.
Yeah.
So when I go to it, I just push myself through the season. 100%. No, I don't. It's not really my favorite season. And then but I'm prepared. The next season might still be the same. But every once in a while, it's like, oh, they started ramping up the next season, and it keeps on. That's how Vampire Diaries was. It was 3 or 4 seasons of just you're kind of repeating. And then all of a sudden it just boomed in its last few seasons. I'm like, and I got to it, and I actually really enjoyed the show overall because of that. But there have been shows that I've completely stopped watching. I've never gone back to because I'll look at the next season and read descriptions about it. I'm like, so it's still a boring ass shit. Okay, I'm not going back to it.
Yeah.
But those are like very special cases on that part. Like, you have to be like completely just mind-bogglingly boring and just stupid for me to do that. I don't like even. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna use kind of Breaking Bad as an example. I like the same thing to me happened with Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
With season 1, like a lot of people, like before I started watching Breaking Bad and really knew very little about it. The only thing I knew about it was they sold drugs. Like I didn't know really anything beyond that.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize the main character had cancer. Like I didn't know that, and until I started watching the show. And but everyone always said like each season it just keeps getting better and better as the show goes on. They're like season 1 is pretty good, and then season 2 is like really good, and then so on. To me, like with the first 2 seasons, it was actually the exact opposite. When I watched, like I was hooked from episode 1, like season 1, episode 1. And I thought season 1 it's kind of short season, but like I thought it was really, really good. And then when I got to season 2, I actually admitted like the first half of season 2, I was a little bored. But everything changed toward the very end of season 2. I think it was like the last like 5-6 episodes or something like that. I can't remember exactly where it starts. But when they introduced the character of Saul, that's when everything changed.
Yeah.
This show got like 10 times better just with this character alone. And I loved it from thus forth. Every season was really good. So, but I was a little doubt. I had a little bleak attitude when I first started watching season 2. I was like, I don't know. This might be one of those shows I might find myself getting a little bored with. So.
I can agree with you because the beginning half of season 2, because they started getting things more in line with what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
It was like, it felt like there was not going to be as much, they felt like they weren't going to be in as much trouble in the first half of season 2.
Yeah.
And then when they got in trouble and they went to introduce Saul because of the trouble, and Saul just a great fucking character. That actor plays that character so.
God, yeah.
I do have to at some point watch Everybody Call Saul.
Yeah, that's the prequel to it, and I definitely want to watch it too. That's going to be another show I'll watch when I finally get Netflix back. I just don't really have time to watch it, but
my only problem with Breaking Bad,
yeah,
the only big critique I have in that show, because it's a phenomenal show, and like when you see the commercials, trailers for it, I was like, yeah, it's not my thing. He's just a drug dealer, whatever. I mean, a drug dealer. But as you said, when you actually watch it and you introduce the cancer and the reason why he's doing this, and
right.
Okay, now it's an intriguing story. But he gets to this point when he's working for Gus.
Yeah.
Where I really start about the show is I'm like, man, you have it all now. You have all this money. Why don't you just work for Gus and be friends with Gus? Make him a shit ton of money. You make a shit ton of money.
That's because he had too much of a soft spot for Jesse. And Jesse, there was a couple of times where Jesse got himself in trouble, and there was also a couple of times where Gus was kind of a bit mean to Jesse. So, he stood up in his defense. So he, like you said, he kind of looked at Jesse as like his son, but, not actually literally his son, but he kind of looked at him as his son. So
thing is, when he finally got Jesse back,
yeah,
like, and the thing is, Jesse also did stupid shit, and it
oh yeah,
pissed me off.
the
Stupid
stuff that Jesse does is like beyond like, oh my god, dude.
And I love the actor that plays Jesse, though. I
Yeah.
love
Oh, he
that
does a
actor.
really good job with that role. But Jesse, a lot of people love Jesse's character, but to me, he will always be one of my nothing against the actor, like he does a great job, but just that character. Was never the biggest fan of Jesse. To me, he screws too many things up, and he's a bit too much of a whiner for my liking. So
The only reason I like Jesse, because I don't like the concept of Jesse, his character design,
yeah,
character storyline, and stuff. But the actor portrays him so well and does
yeah,
that role so freaking well that actually makes me still like Jesse.
Yeah.
Just because of how well the actor does with that crappy character.
Yeah. It's also fair to say that none of the characters in the show are really meant to be likable. They're kind of all crappy on purpose. They're supposed to be, they're like the kind of people, if you knew them in real life and got to know them, you would probably quickly cut them out of your lives. Most people probably
Only
would,
character in the entire show that I 100% like is his son.
Oh yeah, he's cool. He's a bit of a jerk at some moments, but overall he's a good guy though. So
with his jerk moments, it still feels like he's just a teenager.
Yeah.
And look at, and I do like his DA brother.
Yeah, I do, but he's one of those people that kind of makes his job his entire personality. So again, I wouldn't really want to hang around him that much. I love him in the show, but like I wouldn't really want to be friends with him. So
yeah, I love his character up until he gets shot.
Yeah.
Because like that fight scene was a badass moment in that fucking parking lot.
Yeah, very intense. Yeah.
But I liked him up until that point because, again, like you said, he's the character that his job's everything.
Yeah.
Once you remove the job from him, he's not really much of a character.
Yeah.
I did not like his wife, and I did not like his wife's sister.
Most people don't like Skylar or her sister. Yeah. So.
I like Skylar a little more than her sister. I definitely don't like her sister.
To me, it was kind of a coin toss. Like either one.
Her sister, what instantly made me not like her, is the fact that she sits there and talks about all this stuff, and she's a fucking klepto.
Yeah, she is.
And oh my god, she's just not a good rounded character.
Yeah, I mean, she serves her purpose in the show, but
to stir shit.
Pretty much, yeah. And there's a few other characters like that too. They're really their only purpose in the show is just to kind of mess crap up. So,
this guy, my only problem with her is like
she's a hag.
Yeah,
that's a nice way of putting it.
But like, I mean,
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There was some stuff I totally don't blame her for getting upset about. But you can tell even before he got involved in the whole drug dealing thing that she was already like that before. She was like, very control freak like, and very, that was just who she was. So,
yeah.
Yeah, Gus is an awesome villain. Again, I wouldn't want to hang out with him in real life, but he's fun to watch on the show. So
that was going to be, someone like, that can cook really good meth. I'd want to be his best friend.
And not me, but
well, the reason being is because, under Gus, you never get caught. The only reason Gus got caught is because, main character decides,
Because Hank caught him though. He pretty well caught him. Now, whether they actually would have got him into custody or not, now that's a different story. I don't know if they would have actually been able to manage to arrest him, but he did figure out that it was him that was running the whole operation. So, before
Yeah.
he even figured out who Heisenberg was. He hadn't even figured that part out yet, but he already figured out who Gus was. So,
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, he had his inklings, and he was doing things not by the book.
yeah,
And of course, having his brother helping him, having the Heisenberg being there, the chemist.
yeah, he's a pretty
Yeah.
smart guy, but he was also he had that edgy cop kind of about him.
Mhm.
Attitude, which is what also it was a double-edged sword for him. There were times where it really helped him, and then sometimes where it got him in trouble. So
Well, by the law, even if he caught even if he caught Gus,
yeah,
having Walter be the one to stick the tracking device on his car, which he's legally not allowed to do, and
right.
doing things without warrants, Gus would have just got off clean slated.
Right, and that was like I said, he figured out who he was pretty easily, even with the other cops never even considered him. But he figured it out. But like I said, whether he would actually been able to arrest him or not, now that's a different story. So, because Gus never actually got arrested, he got killed. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert if you've never seen the show. Sorry.
Yeah, we talk about random ass shit or typically movies and shows.
Yeah. That seems to be our default a lot of times. Once we run out of stuff to talk about, we're just kind of like, anyway, this show I watched, this movie I watched.
Well, it's like, I can always go on new stuff.
News.
Yeah, like, what kind of news is there? Oh,
Like the weather or something?
no, like nerd news or celebrity news or.
Never heard of that. Yeah, I was kind of trash talking you and Jay a little bit yesterday. I was sitting there telling Morgan, I was telling her that I was just like, because first I was trash talking Ken, and I was telling her how annoying I found him to be. And I was just like, and she was like, she kept asking me if everybody was nice. She kept going, "Oh, is he nice? Are they nice? Are they nice?" And I was just like, so she asked me, like, well, is he not? Why is he mean or something? I was like, no, he's really he's honestly a nice guy. I was like, and it might just be me, but I find him really annoying personally. And so, but I was just like, I told her, I was like, you may not find him annoying. It might be me because I'm kind of dramatic, so there's little things that might get on my nerves that may not bother you at all. And then I started talking about you and Jay, which I didn't talk a whole lot about you because I knew y'all had already met. So I was like, and Jay, I'm like, I don't find him annoying at all as long as you can tolerate his nerd talking because he talks a lot about that kind of stuff. I was like, but it doesn't bother me, so I don't find him annoying. So I was like, but if that bothers you, yeah, you might find him annoying. So
Yeah, we got into a nerd debate. I looked over at her. Morgan was like, "All right, fair warning, this is about to be a big nerd debate. You can listen or you can ignore us. Your choice." Anywho, and just went off at Brandon and Jay.
Yeah. Yeah, I even warned her about that. I was like, yeah, what's really funny is when Eric and Jay will get into a big nerd debate. That I was like, and they get really into it too. Like they will like debate about this like this is a political issue or something. She was like, oh really? And I was like, yeah.
I was like when we talked about if either one of us decide to lead the podcast, as long as one of us still want to do it,
yeah,
we just find a replacement for the other.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here thinking, especially now talking about it, it's like, if you ever left the podcast, I would probably bring Jay into it
and turn it into a nerd podcast. Yeah.
Well, no, I would try not to, but I couldn't actually bring him into it and keep it like what we have.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just talk about
anytime you replace somebody, it's always going to be changed a little bit. So, because everybody's different, but yeah. But
no, specifically, like, we would probably get in heated nerd debates on almost every podcast. Like me and you bicker, just pick on each other in the podcast, but we typically either just ramble or actually have something consistent to talk about.
Yeah. Well, it's very rare when it comes to shows or any kind of fictional art or whatever, that I will ever like get super heavy in debating about it. Because like if I ever catch myself like disagreeing with the other person, I'm like, well, I don't think that. I think it's more like, and then I'll stop myself and be like, well, I mean, what do I care? It's just a fictional show or it's just a fictional movie. So I'll be like, you know what? It's just a show, it's just a movie. If you want to be right, whatever. But there's a few things. That's why I say there's always exceptions with me. But there's a few things I will debate about. But it's not very common for me. So most of the time, I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, for me, it started out just fun to pick on people that are into that, doing that.
Yeah.
And then, to actually have fun and just pick on them and, fight back, I actually had to really get into the shows.
Yeah.
But I found as I put that much effort in the show, I start to realize, get more defensive of that.
Yeah.
Because it's a double-edged sword. I started it for fun, but on the slight film, but on the other hand, I'm just hitting myself because, well, now I'm invested in the show.
Yeah. I can't really think of too many movies that I've actually debated a specific like thing on. I have debated a few people that, but there's not too many people I bump into this problem with, but there's a few people. They don't like the ending to Terminator 2, and so they kind of prefer more the ending to Terminator 3, kind of in a way. And to me, like me, this is one of those things where technically Terminator 3 and Salvation technically is canon, but to me, the story ends with Terminator 2. I'll still watch those movies sometimes, but to me, those aren't where the story ends. To me, the story ends with Terminator 2 because I just like the ending so much better. So, but I'm not super hardcore about it. Like if someone is like,
Terminator,
I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. So
the problem with saying any definitive ending with Terminator.
Yeah, well, it's fair to say there's a lot of endings. Yeah. It's one of those movie series where you could theoretically almost end it out after every single movie. So.
Yeah.
Even the first one. You could theoretically just watch the first one and call the ending right there, like because they already tell you what happens in the future. You already know that John's eventually going to rise up and he's going to help the citizens to rise up and take over and finally defeat these machines. Kyle already told all of that stuff. He said we already won, and that's the reason why they were sending the Terminator back in time to kill Sarah, because there was no other way they could think to win. And
he's a Hail Mary,
right? So it's like you could theoretically. So when they kill that Terminator, Arnold's bad guy version of the Terminator, the T-101, when that one dies, you could call the story right then and there. Like she's going to give birth to John. He's going to do exactly what Kyle said was going to happen, and the story. That's the end of the story. Or you could continue and watch Terminator 2, where they create the ending to where they actually stop Judgment Day from completely ever even happening. So now they can live in this peaceful world, and what are their lives going to be like now? Because before, their whole lives were all revolved, both Sarah and John, their entire lives was getting prepared for Judgment Day. That was like their entire life. And especially for John, because, he'd been born into it. And, but now they no longer have to worry about this. Like, so now you have to answer the question in your head, like, well, how are their lives going to be now? Are they going to just live these peaceful lives? Or are they going to live the rest of their lives being paranoid that maybe they didn't actually stop it? How is this going to play out? So very interesting.
Paranoidly.
Yeah. And you could roll the credits there and say, that's the end. So, which is what I do. Or you could watch Terminator 3 and say they did postpone Judgment Day, but they didn't stop it. And then the machines take over, and John does have to actually take over his role as this military leader. So,
the biggest problem with the Terminator, honestly, to me, 2 makes no sense because,
technically, none of them make sense when you think about it.
Well, the
'Cause-
first one doesn't make sense. To a sci-fi world.
Well, kind of.
No, let me just go through the motions.
Okay, I'll let you explain.
It's not trying to debate, but
Oh, I won't debate you.
the
Trust me.
one was surprised that the T-1000 being sent back was a Hail Mary,
Yeah,
last ditch effort by the machines, by
right.
Skynet. Well, they destroy it and successfully save Sarah Connor.
Right.
Well, it doesn't make sense for two. They're being sent now. Because that means in two, though, it turns out it wasn't the end of the war that they were saying it. They already won in one because, well, Skynet was able to keep going to the point they made a more advanced machine.
Right. Well, the T-1000 was one of a kind originally. Of course, later that changes with other movies because they have to keep upping the ante. But originally in Terminator 2, he was one of a kind. There was no other Terminator like him. And unlike with the T-1800, which was Arnold's version, like there was like an assembly line of him, and but yeah, he was one of a kind. And from my understanding, it's a little tricky exactly at the beginning. But if you listen very carefully at the beginning of T2, they explain that actually both Terminators were sent back at the same time. It seems to be that's what they're saying. That the bad T-1000 was sent back to the time at the exact same time the T-1000 was sent back. But what the Terminators didn't know is they found out about this and they sent back others. Where they sent back Kyle to the original time because he had to be the father of John, and then they reprogrammed John Connor reprogrammed. I don't know why I said that word so weird. Reprogrammed, one of the T-1800s and sent him back as, a good Terminator. So, and this all kind of happened the same. Now it's different with Terminator 3. They explain that this is something that happens many, many, many years later, but it makes more sense in that context because by that point, they had postponed Judgment Day.
So they sent a assembly line Terminator and their newest model back in time to two different points just in case.
Yeah, pretty much. So now you might be like, well, that's a little weird that they sent their one-of-a-kind T-1000 back, but it can be some other purposes. Like I said, if you think of Terminator 3, the TX, she was sent back. She was actually not sent back to kill John Connor because they didn't even know where the heck he was. They couldn't even locate him because he was off the grid. And she was sent back to take out all his lieutenants and to help start the war. That was her goal. And so with that in mind, that may have been their goal with the T-1000 as well. He was sent back to kill John Connor, and then after he fulfilled that purpose, his next purpose may have been to help start the war, to help maybe strengthen Skynet in some ways. I don't know. So
since he can morph into different people.
Right.
Well, here's the kicker, right? If I was Skynet, I would have sent the more advanced one.
Back to the 80s? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could have done it that way. Obviously, T2 was wrote after T1, so, it doesn't work that way. But because of the way the story's written. But yeah.
Like if you were thinking about it, that would be like, well, it'd be easier to send, the newest, more advanced model back to the 80s instead of your typical assembly line model.
Right.
Because, Kyle couldn't have defeated that.
Right. Yeah. It would have been pretty hard for him to take on a T-1000. Yeah. So,
because,
I mean,
Arnold
Schwarzenegger's Terminator, even he barely managed to take him out, and that was barely. I mean, he was hanging on by a thread. So,
I mean, the only reason he was able to do that is because he's used to fighting them every day.
Yeah.
So he had some increments of what to do and how to keep away from them and escape or whatever.
Yeah.
But the problem that got him in that situation is the fact that he also had to double on fighting the Terminator, but protecting Sarah. Whereas on the battlefield, he's got his allies and they're just all fighting.
Yeah.
could typically
Right.
defend themselves. But Sarah couldn't defend herself then.
Right.
And then we get to the timeline where they send one back a good one back even further.
That's when things get really out of control. Yeah.
Oh my god! And then
But you kind of have to think of Terminator Genesis as an alternative timeline because it kind of is. So
I mean, all of them would be an alternate timeline.
it depends on how you see time travel, depending on what movie series you watch.
Well, because the newest one would be an alternate timeline because they
Right.
sent another one that looked like.
But Terminator Dark Fate is a direct sequel to Terminator 2. It explains that Terminator 3 Salvation, none of that stuff ever happened. So, and so it answers the question of what if they sent another Terminator back in time to kill John Connor and he was successful. And now that was his only mission. So now that he fulfilled that mission, what the heck does he do? And that kind of, the movie tries to answer that question. So what would a Terminator do once he fulfills his mission? So
He eventually just learns and becomes more human.
right, essentially. So that's what that Terminator does anyway.
Now, typical on the line models were only programmed to fight, but to defeat John, the ones they sent back had extra programming.
Right.
To learn and process what they're doing because there's the solo, it's a solo mission. It's not throw a bunch of robots at a wall and till that wall falls.
Right. But yeah, that's pretty much, we kind of got off on a way long tangent there, but yeah, that's really the only, when it comes to movies, that's the only thing I can think that I do a little bit of light debating about. Now, when it comes to TV shows, there is one thing I will heavily debate about, and that's with the TV show Friends. Anyone who ever says that Ross cheated on Rachel, I just strongly disagree with them. So
I'm on that too.
I take Ross's side 100%. Even Jennifer Aniston has admitted that she takes Ross's side. So, and she plays Rachel. So, and
yeah. Well, it's true. Like, if you tell someone you're on a break,
yeah, it's obvious at least. Yeah, it's obvious when she suggests that idea. Now it's of course she was just making a suggestion. She was just saying, well, maybe we should just take a break. Well, when he storms out the room, that kind of seals the deal. It's like, we're not dating right now. And it is also fair to say that, he was drunk. And if he wasn't drunk, he wouldn't have done that. But when you're drunk and they were technically on a break and like, to me, like now where Ross messes up is where he tries to hide it. So he's constantly trying to hide it. He should have if he would have just confessed, like, right then and there on the phone, like as she was doing it, but I guess she had already left the apartment and, he didn't want her to find her like right there, but she found out through Gunther and that was kind of heartbreaking for her. So, but he should have just confronted her right there and just said, look, I was not in my, right mind. And she may have handled it a little better if he would have just told her right away. But that still doesn't change the fact that I defend Ross. Yeah.
So, speaking of Friends, though, did you know the scene where he's getting married that he says Rachel's name?
Yeah, during him and Emily's wedding.
You know that actually wasn't going to originally happen that way?
Yeah, I've heard something like that before, but I can't remember exactly how the whole...
So, apparently the actor who plays Ross...
Yeah, David Schwimmer.
David was sitting there doing something, and then, and I can't remember if he was talking to Jennifer or the actress who played... what's her name? Emily?
Yeah, Emily. Yeah. I don't know the actress's name. Yeah.
Well, I don't remember which one he was talking to or something, but he said the wrong name in a completely different scene.
Oh, really?
Well, the creators apparently thought that was so funny that they wrote it in for the wedding scene.
Yeah.
So if he didn't fuck up in an earlier scene,
that may have never been wrote in. Yeah.
Yeah. They would have ended the relationship between him and Emily a different way.
Yeah.
But they thought it was so hilarious that they were like, you know what? That's how Ross is going to fuck up.
He's going to say Rachel's name instead of Emily. Yeah.
honestly, I hate Emily in that moment.
Pretty much every fan does. Like, at first, to me, it's one of those gray areas again for me. Like, to me, at first, I totally don't blame her for getting upset. Now, I do think she went a little over the top right during the wedding. She could have just been like, okay, let's just finish up the wedding, and then I'll tell him how I feel later when we're, in the honeymoon stage. And then she could have expressed like, hey, that really bothered me. I don't find that funny at all, and I can't stand the fact that you're trying to laugh this off or whatever. But instead, she kind of overreacts. But I don't understand. I don't blame her for getting upset. But the part where she really takes it way too far is later on, though, where she, starts trying to control his entire life and everything. So,
well, for me, okay, look, the situation. He looked over. Neither of them expected Rachel to be there.
Yeah.
So it completely threw Ross off. It's not because he was still in love with her. It's because he was thrown off that she was there.
Right.
Hey, when me and my wife was getting married, if one of my exes showed up, I would have completely been thrown the fuck off.
Yeah.
Especially since very few people knew we were getting married, for one.
Yeah.
And I probably would have fucked up because my brain would have been on, why the fuck is she here?
Right. In the moment, she wasn't thinking about it like that. She was just jealous. And she's, the show makes it pretty clear that she was already a bit jealous of Rachel before that. Yeah. She makes a few comments, like when they're making invitations, like, oh, you're going to give Rachel one, and he was like, well, yeah, why not? She's one of my best friends, and she was like, well, you can do whatever you want, but like, I couldn't, have an ex at my wedding, which is a totally understandable statement to say, but it kind of does a little hint, wink, wink, like, maybe she's a bit jealous of Rachel kind of thing. And that shows more clearly when that actually happens at the wedding.
But the thing is, after the wedding, she goes through with it. They're married.
Yeah.
And she is very hateful towards him at the reception.
Right.
And she's late for the flight. She's almost late.
Right, because she wasn't going to go originally, but then she changed her mind and decided she's going to go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so when Ross is like, oh, I'm going to go anyways. And Rachel's there apologizing.
Right.
Oh. Then I'm pissed that Rachel got mad that Ross ran off to try to save his marriage.
Yeah. Well, Rachel does quite a few mess ups there anyway. Because, like, I made a comment one time years ago when I was watching Friends. And because it finally clicked in my head, something that she does throughout the show. She always waits until Ross is in a stage of his life where he's like not available at all. Like he's in a serious relationship, or like an example where he's literally about to get married with Emily. She always waits until this happens and he's fully off the table. That's when she decides she loves him and wants to be with him. And she does that every freaking time. Every time he gets in a serious relationship. And she screws up his relationship by doing something. And then she decides she doesn't want him anymore. And I'm like, what the heck, Rachel?
So I'm never on Rachel's side when it comes to her and Ross.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are times I agree with Rachel, but I hate the fact that she does that. And I'm just like, oh, geez,
Well, I get when she's right at certain points.
Yeah. I mean,
but my thing is, well, those points wouldn't have happened if you didn't do this, and this.
Right. Yeah. And there's times where she admits her faults. Like there was when she comes back from London, she admitted to Phoebe that Phoebe was right and she should have not have gone there. And she fully admitted that. So, and I was like, yeah, you shouldn't have gone there. But, when you're, in love or feel like you are, you do make dumb decisions sometimes. So, but she admitted she was wrong. So.
She left in the evening of their wedding day.
Yeah.
How the fuck did she even make it?
That's the part where you have to just use your imagination and just, don't think about it too much. Yeah.
Like knowing flights. Like how the fuck did she even make it?
You can't think about that part too far. Yeah. But yeah. But that is something, I will I definitely disagree with Rachel when it comes to her and the whole Ross breakup thing. Like, I don't blame her for being upset. I mean, obviously that's an upsetting thing, but saying that when she made that statement that it was over between them forever, I just think that's a bit of an extreme reaction, in my opinion. So I just think that maybe, I don't know. So, but it's fair to say the writers actually never intended on breaking them up when they finally got them together originally. They know that was never the intention. They just, as they were dating for like a season and a half or whatever it was, they decided it would be kind of fun if they broke them up. So, and they were trying to think of a way to break them up where there was kind of a gray area. That way they could eventually get them back together at some later point in the show. Well, they wound up not getting back together to the very end. They didn't intend to wait that long. I think they got a little distracted with Monica and Chandler's relationship though. So
still the best relationship of that entire show.
Yeah.
But I still love when
you got all the feel of friends you'll ever need. Yeah. You still love what? That Joey did what?
I still love Joey's reaction when he finally, for once, his two brain cells were on point and working. Realized out of all the friends in that group, realized that these two were dating.
That Monica and Chandler were dating?
Yeah. He's the first one it clicked to.
Yeah.
Which is so hilarious.
All those hints just kind of got thrown at him at once because he had already thought that before. It was like, because he made that comment about the eyelash curler and he was just like, why in the world do you have an eyelash curler, And so, but then like all that stuff got thrown at him at once. And I was just like, and they made that comment about meeting Donald Trump on the elevator and both of them said it to him. So when they said that, he was like, wait a second, something here is going on. Yeah.
The one time he's on point.
Yeah, every once in a while they throw Joey a bone in the show. But
Friends is still one of the best shows to me.
Yeah, I love Friends. It's harder for me to watch now, though, ever since Matthew Perry passed away.
Yeah. I probably won't watch it ever again.
Every time I see a scene with him in it and he starts making jokes, it just makes me sad. So
yeah. I don't know if I'll ever watch Friends again.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it through it either.
It's like I can't watch the old Power Rangers now.
Oh, because of Jason. I can't remember his last name.
Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
JDF. And I definitely think it's going to be a bitch because I want to play the new Suicide Squad game.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a bitch because it's the last we'll ever hear of Kevin Conroy as Batman.
Yeah.
So anytime Batman's on screen, I'm going to be like, ah! It's kind of hard to watch certain shows, especially when their actors have passed away and they're such great actors. You alive?
Nah, I killed over.
Finally, the podcast is all mine.
If you want to desperately have your own podcast, you could always just start your own.
I don't want my own podcast.
But you make jokes about that all the time. You're like, well, if you ever step down, then I'll get the podcast. I was like, if you want to podcast yourself that bad, just make one.
Like, what would I do on my own podcast? Just me.
I don't know. Talk about nerdy stuff.
I am only entertaining when I bounce off other people.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably the same way because, like I said, a few years ago when I tried to do my own podcast, just boring as all get out. Like I'm trying to sit there and listen through that as I was editing it. It was just like, geez, this is so boring. I'm just like, I'm talking, but it's just like everything I'm talking about just sounds so plain and vanilla, just like bleh, So.
Like, I mean, I can make a straight nerd podcast and just go straight talking about nerd stuff.
Yeah.
Rambling on about nerd news and this and that. Like, I could sit there and have a whole episode talking about how, oh my God, did you know that Dick Grayson was actually, turns out he was bred to be a Talon, but because his parents died, Batman took him in and altered his entire world?
I have no idea
Okay, so Talons are the Court of Owls, little minions. They're undead soldiers.
Yeah.
And so they test people to see if they have the right gene to be a Talon.
Yeah.
Well, apparently in the comics now, Dick Grayson, who's Nightwing, aka the first, he's the first Robin / Nightwing. It turns out that his parents didn't have what they were looking for to be Talons, but they were good enough to be breeders. So their kids were being scouted to be Talons. And it was determined when Dick Grayson was born that he had the gene to be a Talon. So they implanted a false tooth in him that if he died would activate the Talon program and turn him into a Talon. But his parents, so they basically what they would do is they would train these kids, and when they were adults, would kill them and turn them into Talons. But his parents being murdered by, I guess it's still a penguin? I can't remember. but whoever murdered his parents, when they were murdered and he was adopted by Bruce, it took him out of the hands of the Court of Owls. So basically, if they don't ever remove that tooth, if Nightwing is killed, he'll become a Talon. I can talk about that kind of stuff all day long on a podcast.
I could tell. Anyway, but we're about out of time, so we might have to wrap things up here.
Yeah. To everyone, Happy New Year's.
Yep.
I hope your 2023 was decent or good or whatever. Hope you didn't have too bad of 2023. And hopefully your 2024 is going to be really great. Hopefully.
Probably not, though. But no, I'm kidding.
Realistically, probably going to be average. At the most.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Some people might have a really great 2024.
Yeah.
But we'll see you in episode 8 next year.
Yep.
Bye.